Amazing daughter of a cleaner discovers hidden talent and saves a millionaire from ruin. Mia had always been told she was special. But at 17, those words felt more like whispers in the wind than thunderous declarations. She was the quiet girl in the bustling, vibrant neighborhood, where laughter, music, and the scent of street food filled the air. Whenever she walked through the colorful streets after school, her heart ached for more than the life she had. It was her mother, a hard-working cleaner, who kept their meager household afloat, sacrificing dreams for the bills that never ceased. Mia's chest tightened with the weight of her own inadequacies, schoolwork piled up, a part-time job barely provided, and an unkind world that seemed to judge her every move. One evening, while cleaning the dusty corners of the old community center, Mia stumbled upon a forgotten canvas. The dim light revealed flickers of color dancing beneath the grime, calling to her in whispers. With trembling fingers, she picked up a brush, dipping it into vibrant paint. As the first stroke glided across the canvas, a surge of warmth filled her heart. It was as if the colors awakened something deep within her, a voice that had been silenced for too long. Her gentle nature transformed into fierce determination as her brush swept boldly across the canvas, each stroke shedding her insecurities like layers of old paint. Meanwhile, across town, James sat in the plush confines of his once flourishing office, surrounded by the remnants of a legacy threatened by a financial crisis. The glimmer of success was dimmer than ever, and the weight of expectations pressed down on him. As he scrolled through messages, one caught his eye: an art auction at the very community center where Mia had just discovered her talent. He felt a strange pull, one he hadn't felt in a long time, bringing him closer to a world he had long forgotten. Mia's artwork began to gain attention, friends cheered her on, but elitist critics loomed over her like dark clouds. They dismissed her right to create beauty in spaces reserved for the privileged. Each harsh word felt like a stab, and doubt crept in, clouding her burgeoning confidence. Little did she know, James watched from a distance, driven by admiration for her raw talent and the chance for revival he found in her art. The moment they finally met was electric. An awkward exchange filled with unspoken misunderstandings highlighted the barriers their worlds built around them. James saw a reflection of his own struggles in Mia's innocence while she wrestled with the harshness of feedback she couldn't control. The air crackled with tension as she painted, the colors echoing the chaos of their stories. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As the art auction drew nearer, the weight of societal expectations hung heavy in the air, suffocating them both. In a final encounter at the community center, emotions bubbled to the surface, and everything they had kept buried threatened to explode. Mia stood at the brink of vulnerability, while James realized he must confront his own past. The time was ticking, and they both felt the pressure. Would they rise together, or was this the moment their worlds collided, leaving them standing amidst the ruins of their dreams? Mia stood before the canvas, her heart racing. The strokes she had poured onto it felt raw and real, yet the chatter around her twisted into a cacophony of doubt. Critics were relentless, their harsh words clawing at her thoughts like a swarm of angry bees. Each compliment felt overshadowed by disdain, and for a moment, she felt like shrinking away into the shadows, losing herself to the weight of their judgment. But just as panic threatened to engulf her, she caught a glimpse of James through the corner of her eye. He stood in the doorway, an almost ethereal presence amidst the chaos, watching her with a mix of admiration and concern. His eyes held understanding, perhaps even a hint of shared pain. Mia took a deep breath. Maybe he was just as lost as she was. "James," she said softly, her voice barely breaking through the din. For a moment, it felt like the world paused around them. "Mia," he replied, stepping closer. "Your art, it's extraordinary." The sincerity in his voice echoed in her heart, warming the chill of her insecurity. "Do you really mean that?" Or is it just pity? The vulnerability slipped out before she could catch it, her cheeks flushing with embarrassment. He shook his head, an earnest smile breaking through the tension. No pity here. I see potential. A fire. You're not just painting, you're telling a story. You just need to believe it. Tears pricked at Mia's eyes. His words were like balm to her wounded spirit. She nodded, though her heart still ached with uncertainty, but the comfort was short-lived. The auction was just days away, and the weight of expectation was palpable. Mia felt trapped in a world that demanded perfection. As she painted late into the night, her mother's voice echoed in her mind, reminding her of the sacrifices they had made for just a glimpse of something better. Keep going, Mia, she whispered to herself, pouring her heart onto the canvas, each stroke more fervent than the last. You can do this. Across town, James felt the same urgency gnawing at him. He had made mistakes in his life business decisions that had left scars on his reputation and looming debts that threatened to bury him. But Mia's art illuminated hope in his darkness. He needed her help, and somehow, he needed her to need him, too. The night of the auction arrived. The community center buzzed with whispers and laughter, glimmering chandeliers casting warm light over a sea of elegantly dressed patrons. Mia's palms were slick with sweat as she stood beside her painting. In the corner of her eye, she caught James speaking animatedly with someone, his expression earnest as he shared her story with strangers. The pride in his voice lit a small spark within her. As people began to mill around, admiring her work, Mia found courage in the support of those she never expected to be on her side. Yet, lurking still was the fear of rejection. What if they loved her art, but not her? What if at the end of the night, she stood alone, just like before? When the moment came for her painting to be bid on, the tension in the room was thick. Hands raised and fell, and the auctioneer's voice rang out, echoing her heartbeat. With every bid, hope fluttered in her chest. Maybe, just maybe, she wouldn't be cast aside after all, but as the final bid was placed a staggering amount, Mia's heart sank. She turned to look at James, searching for his expression. Would he be proud or remorseful? It was only moments later that she realized who had won, and that realization cracked her open. She felt more than nervousness, she felt a whirlwind of emotions, a mixture of exhilaration and fear. When the crowd began to break, Mia took a deep breath. One question lingered in her mind: would she ever be able to embrace her talent and step confidently into the world that had both challenged and inspired her? As the applause faded, James approached her, a glint of determination in his eyes. Mia, there is something I need to tell you. Her breath caught in her throat. What was he about to reveal? Would it change everything she thought she knew about herself, and her future? Mia looked into James's eyes, the excitement and panic swirling inside her like a storm. He stepped closer, their shoulders almost brushing, the crowd blurring around them. What is it? She urged, her voice a mere whisper, filled with anticipation. James took a deep breath, gathering his thoughts like an artist preparing for a pivotal stroke. I've been watching you, he began, his gaze unwavering. Your art isn't just beautiful, it's powerful. It's changed how people see you. It's changing how I see myself too. There was a vulnerability in his confession that resonated deep within her, but she could feel uncertainty lurking beneath the surface of his words. Still processing his admission, Mia felt this connection tugging at her heart. But what does that mean for us? She asked, fear creeping into her voice. The laughter and chatter of the auction faded, making room for their private moment in the midst of the chaos. I know I've made mistakes in life, believe me, he replied, his tone heavy with sincerity. I'm at a crossroads, just like you. Maybe we can help each other. You need support, and I have a way to help you grow your talent while rediscovering my own passion. She searched his face, searching for any sign of deception. Could he genuinely want to help her, and would working with him allow her to overcome her fears? The doubts that once paralyzed her re-emerged, but they were not insurmountable. What do you have in mind? She asked, the hesitation melting into intrigue. The flicker of possibility danced in her chest, igniting a spark of hope. Let us put together an exhibit, he proposed, the excitement burning in his voice. A way for you to showcase your work and tell your story. I'll use my connections to get people interested, and we'll turn this into something that lets you shine. You deserve to be seen and heard. Mia felt the weight of his words settle around her, like a soft blanket in the winter. The idea blossomed within her, feeding on the humble embers of her dreams. Yet, shadows of doubt flickered in her mind. What if I fail? She asked, vulnerability creeping back in. James stepped closer, closing the distance between them until she could feel his warmth. What if you don't? He smiled gently, his faith in her poignant. You were born to paint, Mia. You can't deny your talent any longer. This is your chance to embrace it. Mia's heart swelled with a mix of fear and anticipation. Could she really stand in the light after spending so long hiding in the shadows? An unshakable thought clawed at her. What if stepping into the limelight brought more pain and rejection than she was prepared to face? As her thoughts spiraled, a voice broke through, pulling her back to reality. Mia, we'd love to see you paint again. A friendly stranger interrupted them, snapping her out of her doubt. A few others gathered, eager and encouraging. Their openness made something shift inside her. Perhaps this truly was the moment she had been waiting for. Okay, she finally responded, determination rising in her chest. Let us do it. Just as relief washed over her, the crowd around them erupted into laughter, and James turned his head, curiosity piqued. What is going on? Mia followed his gaze, heart racing again. A familiar face had stepped forward, raised a hand in a wave, a smirk playing across their lips. It was Lydia, the art critic who had once been brutal in her reviews, now laughing with a wealthy patron. What is she doing here? Mia's stomach nodded, remembering the sting of her words. James caught the tension in her shoulders and leaned in closer. Whatever happens, Mia, remember why you're doing this. For you. As they stood together, the moment charged with uncertainty, Mia wondered if she would rise to meet the challenges ahead or falter under the weight of others' expectations. Would this exhibit open doors, or would it trample her spirit? The buzzing crowd faded into the background as she witnessed Lydia approach. Every step echoed in Mia's heart, each one a whisper of impending change. A combination of fear and hope filled the air. What would Lydia say? In that silent question hung Mia's fate, and hers alone. Mia felt her heart race as Lydia's confident stride closed the distance between them. The laughter that had once felt like a comforting blanket now felt like a noose tightening around her throat. Memories of scathing critiques swirled in her mind, words that stabbed deeper than she had ever admitted. Would this moment be a repeat of the past? Hi, Mia, Lydia greeted, her voice smooth yet edged with curiosity. I didn't expect to see you here, especially not after, well, you know. A flash of amusement lit her eyes, dismissing any weight Mia thought her opinions held. Mia felt the flush creep to her cheeks, a mix of embarrassment and anger. Why are you here, Lydia? She managed, trying to sound confident. I'm here to enjoy some art, of course, Lydia said, her voice lilting. Her gaze flicked to James, and the smirk grew wider. But seeing you is quite a surprise. I was just telling my associate how interesting it would be to witness a comeback story in the art world. And guess what? She paused, reveling in the tension. You're it. Mia's breath hitched. Was Lydia mocking her? James stepped in, his protective stance fairly radiating, emanating a warmth that steadied Mia. Actually, Mia is planning an exhibition. It's time for her to show her true talent to the world, he declared, his voice steady and affirming. Lydia raised an eyebrow, clearly intrigued. An exhibition, huh? Now that's bold. Will she be ready for the scrutiny? After all, not everyone appreciates art in the same way. There was a challenge in her tone, a thinly veiled dare. Mia clenched her fists, her heart beating a furious tempo. She could feel her resolve wavering, but James's presence grounded her. It was not just about the exhibition, it was about reclaiming her voice. I will be ready, Mia found herself saying, her voice stronger than she felt. This is my chance, and I won't let anyone take it away from me. Lydia seemed taken aback by her response but quickly masked it with a smirk. We'll see. I look forward to the exhibit. But there was something more in her eyes, a flicker of respect. Perhaps even a hint of curiosity. As Lydia walked away, Mia's feelings were a whirlwind. The encounter left her unnerved but strangely invigorated. James turned to her, his smile bright and infectious. You held your ground, Mia. That was amazing. A rush of pride filled her. Maybe she wasn't as fragile as she thought. I didn't expect to react like that, she admitted, breathing deeply to steady herself. You surprised yourself, and that's half the battle, James replied, his voice warm with encouragement. Now that you've faced Lydia, are you ready to dive into planning this exhibition? Mia nodded slowly, the idea of pouring herself into her work more comforting than ever before. As they walked hand in hand through the crowd, thrill and fear tangled together like a twisted piece of art itself. Weeks rolled by, and with James's guidance, they dove into preparations. They selected paintings, discussed themes, and pored over details. Slowly, Mia's confidence grew, a balloon being filled with air, but one evening, as they reviewed the final arrangement, Mia received a surprising call. It was Lydia, asking for a one-on-one preview before the exhibition opened. A mix of excitement and dread swirled within her. James, what if she wants to tear me apart? What if she tears you apart too? You won't know until you give her the chance, he replied, taking her hands. Remember, your art is your voice. No one can take that from you unless you let them. As the call ended, doubt flickered just beneath the surface, and Mia found herself staring at the canvases they had so lovingly arranged. All the colors, all the passion she had poured into her work felt suddenly exposed. A sense of unease settled over her, and she wondered, would she be able to stand up to Lydia again? Would she allow herself to be vulnerable in front of the person who had hurt her so deeply before? The inkling of fear bubbled under the surface once again, leaving her feeling exposed. As she caught James's eye, something between them ignited a promise of support, but also a challenge. Would she rise to the occasion, ready to face whatever was thrown her way? In that tension, she realized this was more than just an exhibition. It was about reclaiming herself, about diving deep into the uncharted waters of her own resilience. And in that moment, Mia understood her art was not merely colors on canvas, it was the embodiment of her journey. Could she truly face Lydia again and find her voice amidst the echoes of the past? As the days slipped by, Mia barely had time to breathe between preparations for her exhibition and her trepidatious phone call with Lydia. With each brushstroke on the canvas, she poured out her soul. The swirling hues of her emotions felt nearly tangible. She wanted her paintings to burst forth from the canvas, to demand attention, just as she was learning to do, but as the date of her preview with Lydia loomed closer, the knot in her stomach tightened. What if Lydia saw something she didn't see? What if this chance to shine turned into another painful reminder of her past failures? James sensed her anxiety. Often, he would catch her staring into space, lost in thought. Mia, he said one evening, thumbing through a notebook filled with ideas and sketches, you're ready. I know you are. His eyes sparkled with encouragement, igniting a flicker of belief within her. What if she hates it? Mia asked, her voice laced with vulnerability. She tucked a strand of hair behind her ear, feeling exposed. The immersive world she lost herself in while painting felt safer than it had in weeks. Art isn't about everyone loving it, he smiled, taking a seat next to her on the couch. It's about expressing yourself. You'll connect with people who see what you see. And those who don't? Well, their opinions don't define you. His words settled in her like a soothing balm, but doubts wrestled with the logic. Maybe she'd grown, but Lydia had a way of unearthing her insecurities. The thought of Lydia's piercing gaze scrutinizing every piece sent a shiver down her spine. The night before the preview, Mia found herself tossing in bed, unable to shake off the feeling of impending doom. A persistent voice echoed in her head, whispering that she wasn't ready, that even the most vivid colors couldn't mask her fears. She spent the evening going over every painting, each one telling its own story, but still doubting if it was enough. The next day, the gallery buzzed with nervous energy. Mia stood in front of her masterpieces, breathing deeply, the scent of fresh paint mingling with excitement in the air. James flitted around, setting up drinks and reassuring everyone. But her focus wavered, returning to thoughts of Lydia. Finally, the moment arrived. The door swung open, and there stood Lydia, looking immaculate, an air of authority surrounding her. Time stood still as their eyes met. Lydia strutted in, glancing around, a hint of amusement playing at the corner of her lips. "Quite the transformation," Lydia said, her voice weaving through the gallery like a fine mist. "I was curious if you could back up your words." Mia's heart raced. Every step Lydia took felt like a drum echoing in her chest. Did she have the strength to confront the storm again? "Welcome, Lydia. I hope you enjoy what you see," Mia replied, forcing a steadiness into her voice that didn't quite match the tremor in her hands. As they moved through the gallery, Mia braced herself with every passing moment. Each painting began as a personal piece but now felt like a mirror reflecting more than just her journey. It reflected her struggles, her resilience, her determination to rise. But then, as they neared the final painting, Mia felt the weight of Lydia's gaze sharpen. "And this?" "The boldest choice yet," Lydia noted, her tone dripping with curiosity. Mia's pulse quickened. It was time to reveal her truth. "It's about vulnerability. Facing pain. Each color shows what I fought for, it tells my story," Mia started, her voice steadier now. Lydia raised an eyebrow, clearly intrigued. "Bold but intriguing. Are you prepared for the critics?" It felt like the air had been sucked from the room. There it was, the challenge hanging in the balance. The old Mia would have crumbled. But she needed to know something. Could the new Mia handle this? "Do you want the truth?" Mia stepped closer, her breath racing. "I'm ready for whatever you throw my way. Because this is more than an exhibition. This is me finally taking my place." And at that moment, with her heart pounding defiantly against her ribcage, Mia realized the stakes had never felt higher. Lydia's smile morphed into something unreadable, and Mia's spirit surged. Would Lydia's true intentions come to light? What secrets would their confrontation unveil, and how would it reshape everything she had fought for? Mia stood in that moment, the weight of her own words hanging in the air. The colors of her paintings seemed to pulse with life as her heart beat louder. She had crossed a line, and there was no turning back now. Lydia peered at the last painting, her expression shifting ever so slightly, as if contemplating the implications of Mia's indictment. "Very well," Lydia finally said, her tone shifting to one of measured appraisal. "Show me what you have." Mia's breath caught. This was the invitation she had been waiting for, but now, all of her earlier bravado felt like a thin veil. She motioned towards the painting, deep reds entwined with soothing blues, a soft sun rising against a dark storm. "This represents holding on to hope despite despair. It's my reminder that there is always a flicker of light, no matter how dark it gets." Lydia studied the piece, tilting her head slightly. "Interesting interpretation. And how do you see that flicker relating to your journey? You are aware that art critics can be unforgiving?" The room blurred around Mia, swirling with emotion, her truth laid bare. "For me, this journey has been about not allowing fear to define me anymore. Each brushstroke echoes a part of my past and represents my desire to move forward. I've fought against the dark, and I'm still fighting." Lydia seemed to be considering her words carefully, her eyes narrowing. The room felt electric, everyone else immersed in hushed whispers, or maybe just a cautious anticipation. James was hovering in the background, his hands gripping a drink, his expression reflecting hope and concern. "So, you believe you're ready?" Lydia asked, her voice a bit softer now. "Ready for the judgment that comes with success?" "I am," Mia replied, her own strength surprising her. "I'm ready to take that risk. I want to make an impact, not just in the art community, but wherever my story can reach. If it's through vulnerability, then so be it. The air shifted, thick with tension and possibility. Mia noticed a slight twitch in Lydia's mouth, almost a smile, but quickly hidden behind her professional demeanor. Well, I appreciate honesty. Most artists hide behind their work, afraid of revealing their true selves. As the night progressed, the crowd gathered around, intrigued by Mia and her story. Conversations fanned out like ripples, fragments of admiration and skepticism swirling about. Mia found herself in the thick of it, answering questions, engaging with the visitors. Each moment felt like an unveiling, revealing pieces of herself she didn't even know were there. But just as she began to settle into this atmosphere of acceptance, she noticed Lydia slip into a corner, her expression unreadable, her phone pressed close to her ear. The laughter and chatter faded into a dull thrum as Mia's focus narrowed. Why did that small gesture send a chill racing down her spine? Mia, a friend called, dragging her back into the moment. But the unease lingered, leaving a shadow over her newfound joy. When Lydia finally rejoined the group, her demeanor was different, almost distant. I heard there are some big players interested in your work, she said, but something in her tone made Mia's heart flutter uneasily. We should discuss your future, perhaps over coffee tomorrow. A tiny spark of executive interest flickered, but a nagging question tugged at Mia's mind. Did Lydia's interest come from a genuine place, or was this just part of her game? The exhibition came alive around her, but she felt separated, an outsider looking in on her own success. Deep down, she realized she was standing on a precipice, each decision now feeling laden with consequence. Could this be what I've always wanted or just another pitfall? Mia whispered to herself, glancing at her paintings that seemed to reflect her turmoil. With uncertainty gnawing at her thoughts, she knew she had to confront Lydia, to unravel the layers behind the woman who seemed so curious yet so calculating. Her future felt like an unturned page, and she could sense a storm brewing behind closed doors. What conversation awaited her in the morning? Would she walk away with a career-launching opportunity or step directly into a trap crafted from the very fears she had just begun to conquer? The next morning, the sun spilled through Mia's bedroom window, casting a warm glow over her scattered sketches and paint tubes. She tossed and turned, unable to shake off the feeling that something seismic was set to occur. Her heart raced, a melody of anticipation and dread. Coffee. She needed coffee. As she stepped into her tiny kitchen, the aroma of brewing coffee embraced her, the familiar scent felt grounding. But the knot in her stomach twisted tighter when she thought about her upcoming meeting with Lydia. Would this be the moment that changed everything for her? Or the moment that could destroy the fragile confidence she had woven over the years? She dressed carefully, glancing at herself in the mirror. Today was different. The reflection staring back was not the shy girl seeking approval. This was a woman ready to seize her fate. The cafe was bustling with morning energy when Mia arrived. Clutching her tote bag, she scanned the room, spotting Lydia at a corner table. An air of authority surrounded Lydia as she sat, scrolling through her phone, her posture exuding confidence that both drew Mia in and intimidated her. Sorry to keep you waiting, Mia said as she approached, her voice steadier than her heart felt. Lydia looked up, her expression softening just a hint. You're right on time. Thank you for coming. Mia felt her pulse quicken as she took a seat. So, about yesterday? Let us dive in, shall we? Lydia interrupted, her voice smooth like silk. I want to talk about your work and its potential catapulting into a bigger arena. Mia leaned in, excitement bubbling beneath her uncertainty. What do you mean by bigger arena? Lydia waved her hand dismissively. You've managed to catch the interest of a significant collector. I believe they could help elevate your career to heights you've only dreamed of. Mia's breath hitched. A collector? She had only read about such opportunities in glossy art magazines. Her dreams were suddenly within reach, but what was the catch? It's a steep climb, Lydia continued, her eyes narrowing slightly. The art world is competitive. Are you ready to face criticism and the spotlight? Ready as I can be, Mia replied, the determination in her voice surprising even herself. Good, Lydia said, a smirk ghosting her lips. But remember, once you're in, there's no turning back. That means being open, revealing everything in your art. Can you take that risk? Mia hesitated, the weight of Lydia's words pressing down hard. Could she? She thought of the stacks of paintings that hid her struggles, each one brimming with her deepest secrets. I'm willing to try. I want my story to be seen. Lydia's eyes flashed with approval, but then softened. Then let us make some noise. But, Mia, I have to warn you, not everyone will have your best interests at heart. Trust is a luxury. Mia felt the air thicken, the truth of those words weighing heavily on her. Are you in my corner, then? Lydia's gaze sharpened. Only if you give me reason to be. Silence hung between them like a fragile web, each moment heavy with unspoken implications. The cafe's soft chatter faded into a background hum as Mia grappled with the realization that in this new chapter, trust would be a precarious balance, a dance on a tightrope. What steps do I need to take? Mia asked, steeling herself. First, we need to prepare you for an upcoming gallery exposition. That will be your stage. You'll either shine or dim. But. Before Lydia could finish, a shadow darkened the cafe entrance, a tall man with an air of stippled confusion. He scanned the room anxiously and then locked eyes with Mia. Time seemed to freeze, Mia recognized him instantly. It was Oliver, the elusive but charismatic millionaire she had painted during her last exhibit. What was he doing here? As he moved towards their table, Mia felt her heart race with questions. Why was he looking for her? Was this a coincidence, or could this change everything? The storm she felt brewing wasn't just in her mind anymore. It was here, twisting and turning, ready to unleash a whirlwind of opportunity or chaos. What did Oliver want from her? Would he turn her world upside down, or would he add another layer of complexity to her already fragile path? Mia's heart pounded as Oliver approached their table, his features becoming clearer with each step. He had always exuded charisma, but today, there was something in his expression and urgency, perhaps that gripped her. She couldn't help but wonder what had drawn him to her like this. Hey, Mia, he said, his voice steady yet laced with an unfamiliar tension. I know this is random, but can we talk? Now. Right here, in front of Lydia. She felt a whirlwind of uncertainty. Sure, she managed, feeling the eyes of the cafe linger on them, the energy around her charged. Lydia's gaze was unreadable, a hawk watching for any sign of weakness. What is going on? Mia asked, curiosity nudging her to wade into unknown waters. Oliver leaned closer, lowering his voice. I've been thinking about that painting you did, the one of me. It struck a chord. He paused, taking a breath as if the words were stuck. Mia's mind raced. Did he like it? Did he want to buy it? Or was it something more? The gallery looming ahead flashed in her mind. This could be her moment, or it could bring crashing down her fragile hope. I've been experiencing some challenges lately, and I'm looking for inspiration. I thought maybe we could collaborate. He straightened, his eyes searching hers for a flicker of understanding. Collaborate? Mia echoed, a mix of disbelief and excitement bubbling within her. On what exactly? On a project. I want to showcase art that resonates with personal stories, truths buried beneath the surface. You have a unique perspective, we could create something powerful together. His passion was palpable, wrapping around her like a warm embrace. Mia felt the breath in her lungs quicken. It was the kind of opportunity writers pen stories about. A chance to merge their worlds. But the weight of responsibility tugged at her. A million things could go wrong, she confessed, the fear creeping back into her voice. What if she failed him? What if her art didn't meet his expectations? Lydia interjected, her tone sharp. What's in it for you, Oliver? Mia's talent is raw and still developing. This isn't a desperate attempt to restore someone's image, is it? Oliver's eyes darted to Lydia, a flicker of annoyance crossing his features. I'm not trying to exploit her. This is something I genuinely believe could be amazing. Besides, Mia's art deserves to be seen. Mia's heart flared with a mix of pride and confusion. It felt good to be recognized, but was this a step toward her dreams or just a detour into chaos? What do you think? Oliver asked, turning his full attention back to her. Will you join me? At that moment, Mia's heart raced with the thrill of possibility, but it was laced with hesitation. Trust could be a treacherous path. Could she dive in and risk everything for a chance that might lead to her dreams? Or would she drown in the weight of his expectations? The cafe faded into the background, leaving just the two of them, poised on the precipice of an opportunity that could alter the course of their lives. With a deep breath, Mia searched Oliver's face for the truth nestled within his request. Can I think about it? It felt safer that way, but was it really? Oliver gave a small, hopeful nod. Of course. Just know, I'm in your corner, Mia. Always. As he stepped back, leaving room for the shadows of doubt to creep back in, Mia felt the ground shift beneath her. Was she ready to take this leap, or was it too high a risk? And most importantly, if she stepped into this unknown, what other secrets might unravel along the way? The bustling cafe faded as Mia's mind spun with possibilities. She watched Oliver walk away, his silhouette etched against the light streaming through the window. A mix of exhilaration and fear coursed through her. This could be her big break, the moment she had been waiting for. But along with that bright prospect came the nagging doubts that had shadowed her since childhood. Are you really going to think about it? Lydia's voice snapped Mia back to reality. It was sharp, biting through the haze of excitement. This is Oliver we're talking about. The same guy who has always been all about his own image. What if this is just a publicity stunt? Mia didn't want to believe that. She sighed, feeling the weight of Lydia's skepticism. I mean, it could be different, she said, unsure even as she spoke. She wanted to defend Oliver, but doubts gnawed at her. He seemed genuine. He always seems genuine. That's the problem. You need to think what's this really about. Lydia leaned in, concern creasing her brow. Can't I just enjoy the possibility of it? Mia replied, her voice rising slightly, a mix of frustration and longing. What if it's a chance to do something meaningful? To finally share my art. Art isn't just about sharing, Mia. It's about understanding yourself, Lydia said softly, her eyes searching Mia's. I just don't want you to get hurt. Hurt. That word hung in the air, trailing after all their conversations. Mia had felt hurt before: rejection from galleries, disinterest from critics. But this? This was new. Her chance to shine. Feeling overwhelmed, Mia pushed back her chair and stood. I need some air. She could feel Lydia's eyes drilling into her back as she stepped outside. The crisp autumn air hit her face like a splash of cold water. Mia took a deep breath and let it out slowly. She walked along the street, hands tucked into her pockets, mind still racing. What did she want? Did she want to play it safe or take the leap that could change everything? A thought crossed her mind: what if she met Oliver halfway? They could come together, trade ideas, and create something staggering. But what if it shattered her perception of what she'd built in her mind? Suddenly, her phone buzzed in her pocket. She pulled it out, her heart quickening. It was a text from Oliver. Hey, Mia. I know this is a big decision. I just want you to know that I admire your talent. Take your time. Talk soon. A flutter of warmth spread through her chest. His words, simple yet kind, gave her a glimpse of the connection they could share. But with that warmth came a chill. Talk soon. What did he want from her? Mia turned back, her thoughts tangled. Could this really work? Could she really trust him, or would she just be another fleeting muse he could use and discard? with her heart in her throat, she made her way back to the cafe, seeking clarity in her heart. As she stepped inside, a surprising realization slipped into her mind. She didn't just want to be invited into Oliver's world, she wanted her own light to shine alongside his. Before she could process how to respond to him, she spotted Lydia. There was concern etched on her friend's face. "Hey, any decisions?" Lydia asked, her voice gentle. Mia took a breath, feeling the energy around her shift. I think I want to explore this." Before Lydia could respond, the cafe door swung open again, and in strode a group of people whispering urgently. Mia squinted, trying to figure out what was happening, but her heart dropped when she recognized one of them. It was someone from Oliver's past, a past Mia could see extending shadows over the present. What if you knew something that could change everything? The stranger called out, startling everyone inside the cafe. Mia's stomach twisted as she felt the weight of the moment. What secrets were about to unravel? And how would they affect all her hopes and dreams? Mia could feel the air in the cafe shift as the stranger's call sliced through the atmosphere. The whispers that followed were a mixture of intrigue and apprehension. What did he mean? What could he possibly reveal about Oliver? Her heart raced, uncertainty flooding her thoughts. Lydia's hand found Mia's arm, squeezing gently. "Stay close to me," she whispered, her normally confident demeanor slightly shaken. As the stranger approached their table, Mia's pulse quickened. He wore a casual look that screamed trouble. "Oliver," he said, voice dripping with cheeky bravado, "I think it's time we talked about your little secret, huh?" Oliver's face paled ever so slightly, but he regained composure quickly, flashing a tense smile. "What are you doing here?" Mia glanced between Oliver and the newcomer, her stomach twisting with anxiety. This wasn't just about art anymore. This was personal. "What secret?" Mia asked, her voice steadier than she felt. She needed clarity. The stranger shifted closer, casting a calculated glance around the cafe. "Oliver here has been playing with fire. Artists, projects, but there's a side to this story he hasn't shared. And it's messy." Mia's heart hammered in her chest, anxiety tangling with indignation. "What do you mean?" "Isn't at times she knows the truth?" The stranger goaded, fixing his gaze on Mia. "You're not the only one with a story to tell." Mia felt shivers travel down her spine. "You don't have to do this," Oliver interjected, stepping closer to the table, tension rippling within him. The protective glare in his eyes sent a rush of conflicted feelings through Mia. She had wanted to believe in his potential to inspire, but now shadows of doubt crept in like unwelcome intruders. "What's your angle?" Lydia demanded, pressing a hand to her side. "If you're here for a reason, then spill it." The stranger chuckled, a twisted smile on his lips. "Just looking out for our girl here. If she's diving into a partnership with him, maybe she should tread lightly." Mia's head spun. She couldn't wrap her mind around the layers unfolding before her. "Oliver?" she questioned, frustration rising in her voice. "What's this all about?" Oliver sighed, tension etching deeper into his features. "Mia, let me explain." "I save it," the stranger interrupted, waving his hand dismissively. "Your past doesn't stay buried, does it?" Bit by bit, pieces began to fall into place. Mia felt a part of her yearning for connection waver as uncertainty soured the taste of hope. "Oliver, is there something you've been hiding?" "I'm trying to protect you." He shot back with mounting anger, but behind it lay a palpable vulnerability. The air crackled with tension as Mia stared at him, searching for truth. A moment passed before Lydia stepped forward. "Mia deserves honesty. If he's not being straight with you, it's not worth risking your dreams." Mia's heart pounded, caught between the warmth of Oliver's presence and the icy grip of caution. "What do I do now?" One glance at the stranger told her he thrived on chaos. If he had come here for truth, perhaps he held the power to either shatter or solidify her dream. With newfound resolve, Mia took a step forward, eyes locked on Oliver. If you want me to trust you, I need to hear it all. The good and the bad. A flicker of fear crossed Oliver's face, but he nodded, the weight of the moment settling over both of them. Okay, he finally breathed. I messed up. In past ventures, I've made some reckless decisions, invested in some wrong places. I thought I could turn it around by being involved in art, in something I truly believe in. But I never meant to lead anyone on. I just wanted to find my way back. Mia blinked, trying to process this heartfelt confession. The conflict within her crumbled slightly beneath the honesty in his voice. And what does that mean for us? Together, we can create something real. But if this unfolds in a negative light, I know it could bring you down with me. I can't let that happen. Tears pricked at Mia's eyes, caught in a mixture of hope and fear. Somewhere beneath the web of mixed messages, she could feel the stirrings of possibility intertwined with caution. I'm willing to navigate this with you, but we need transparency, Mia said, the firmness of her voice reassuring. Both of us. If you let me in, I want to let you down. I promise, Oliver replied, urgency threading his tone. Lydia watched, her expression softened but still watchful. The tension in the room began to ease, but they were not out of the woods yet. Mia turned toward the stranger, who had been oddly silent since Oliver's confession. What do you want from all this? A sly grin returned to the stranger's face. I'm just the messenger. I wanted to see if you both would crumble, or if you'd emerge stronger. With those words, the spell shifted. The challenge was set, and the context had morphed. They could rise together or fall apart. It was their choice, their moment. Mia took a deep breath and stepped closer to Oliver. Then let us rise, she said firmly. And with that small declaration, a wave of newfound determination surged through her. The world around them might be swirling with shadows, but they wouldn't be swept away. As the cafe buzzed around them, Mia felt her spirit lift. The cloud still loomed, but the light was breaking through. This was just the beginning. Fear still flickered like an unsteady flame, yet in that moment, hope outweighed it. Together, they could forge a path forward, step into the unknown, and maybe just maybe change both of their fates forever. Don't let this moment fade away. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Support truly matters. Comment your reactions and feelings about this intense ending. And share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. You need to subscribe now. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait not even one more second to share.